With that ribbon cutting on Saturday afternoon in Westwood in Bergen County, another Habitat for Humanity home project is completed. Christopher Ilasquez, a member of the Army National Guard, his wife Lena Vanessa, 7-year-old Viviana, and Amina, 6 weeks old, are the beneficiaries of a lot of work by a lot of people. Parishioners expressed concern about another car theft incident in North Caldwell.
I think it's awful. They have no shame. I mean, broad daylight in a church parking lot, it's terrible.
But that's how you find them, looking at them all day long.
So you've seen every trick in the book?
Not every trick. There's always something ahead of you. About
15 minutes before the press conference, Nadler joined Mayor Bill de Blasio at a photo op around the corner where a camera was installed. It was, however, apparent from his body language early in the press conference that Nadler was not well. Head slumped at times, and before most people noticed, reaching for his medication. A few minutes later, those in his immediate vicinity noticed something was wrong and tried to help.
I was answering a question and I heard someone say Jerry's name in a way that sounded distressed. So I turned to him and it just looked like he was taking a little nap for a moment. And then I put my hand on his shoulder. I said, "Jerry, you okay?"
This is what the Portal Bridge looks like today. According to Amtrak, about 450 trains per day cross the Hackensack River between Kearney and Secaucus, traveling the northeast corridor between Newark and Penn Station in Manhattan. With 23 feet of clearance from the water, the bridge, built in 1910, swings open for maritime traffic. It takes 20 minutes. The new bridge would increase the clearance to 300 feet. According to the Gateway Program Development Corporation, speeds over the bridge are restricted to 60 miles per hour, which cause more delays. Gateway also asserts that between 2014 and 2018, Portal Bridge openings caused delays on 230 days. Assuming there was full funding, Amtrak says it would take 5 years to construct. And the cost? Projections beyond the bridge are $11.1 billion for a new Hudson River tunnel and $1.6 billion to rehabilitate the existing tunnel. New Jersey's leadership say replacing the Portal Bridge is urgent. Governor Phil Murphy, state legislators, members of the congressional delegation, and officials held a press conference at Secaucus Junction calling on the federal government to approve and to fund the project.
We need a full-fledged partner in the federal government.
New Jersey is ready to get started on America's next great infrastructure project.
Totowa Police Chief Robert Coyle retired last Friday, serving his last 23 years as the borough's top cop. He expressed mixed feelings about completing his long tenure.
Obviously, I'm both happy and sad today. I've made a great many friends on the department and in this town. I had a career just shy of 41 years. It's a great town to live in. I grew up here. I raised my family here. They went through the local schools and the local high school. All did good, got them all out of college. So I had a good career.
With that command, all 131 soldiers from the New Jersey National Guard's 2nd Battalion, 113th Infantry Regiment, 44th Infantry Brigade Combat Team were officially back from Djibouti in the Horn of Africa after a 9-month deployment. Task Force Warrior arrived Friday night at McGuire Air Force Base and were welcomed home on Saturday at a ceremony at their home base, the Teaneck Armory, where family awaited.
It's pretty unreal. This is my 2nd deployment, so it's something I remember from last time, but it's surreal because I haven't seen him for like almost a year, and seeing him now, the only time I've seen him through the video chat is like, wow, he's big.
How old is he?
He's 2.
Glad to be home. Excited.
And who's with you here?
Gabriella, my wife Jennifer.
Smith was transported by Paramus EMS to Newbridge Medical to be checked for possible injuries from the crash, according to police. Scenes like this are not uncommon in the Garden State. Darius News broke the story last week. Car theft in New Jersey has sharply increased.
Unfortunately, this far into 2021, we're up 20% on total motor vehicle thefts from this time last year. And then we're up 25% on high-end motor vehicle thefts from this time last year.
I was coming up Route 80. The car started smoking. Somebody told me to pull over. There was a fire from the bottom of the car. I pulled over. There was a co-officer behind me. He must have seen the smoke. He told me to get away from the car. As you've seen, the car just broke out in a big fire.
So you were driving with the car in flames and didn't even know it?
No, I didn't know. No.
Could you smell anything?
No. All I seen when I looked behind me was smoke.
So when you got out of the car and realized it was on fire, what was your thinking? What was your reaction?
To get away from the car.
Tributes and remembrance as the nation faces a deadly coronavirus pandemic. It's been happening daily at 7 p.m. on Margaret Road, which sits in a bucolic neighborhood in the Oak Ridge section of Jefferson Township in Morris County. And it all started almost 2 weeks ago.
My grandfather actually gave me the idea of playing taps at around 7 o'clock each night.
I just saw a guy on TV on a balcony playing a sax or a trumpet, and all the people came out and were clapping and stuff like that, and I said, why don't we get the kids to come down and do it,
It's Wednesday night, almost 11 p.m. at the parking lot outside the Costco at the Willowbrook Mall in Wayne, New Jersey. As snow turns to sleet in Passaic County and roads are empty, the night is just beginning for men shoveling snow and operating plows.
We're just doing the Costco parking lot, just this perimeter that you see behind me for the most part.
Most say they're concerned about the new building management who took over this year and the use of short-term rentals. James Mulvihill and his wife Ann did notice a police presence last night. They have lived in the Grand Adams for 5.5 years. They say they agree with most other tenants who believe short-term rentals are a safety concern.
So they do have short-term rentals available. If you go on vrbo.com, you're actually able to see the different properties that are available within the 300 Grand Street building.
The Volunteer Ambulance Corps, Queens Village, circa 1972. That's Jeannie Marie Braun at the wheel. She became an advanced EMT and later an emergency room nurse.
Paramedic Christina Braun, Station 4, the Lower East Side.
Fast forward almost 5 decades. Christina Braun graduated yesterday as a New York City Fire Department paramedic. And that's her uncle, Martin Braun, the FDNY Deputy Chief of Emergency Medical Services. That makes 3 generations of Brauns saving lives. 80-year-old Juan Guerra and Nelba Guerra, 77, have lived at their current home in Newark for 24 years. They say they've been using a water filter for the last 18 months. They also worry about the impact on their health and their family.
We don't know if they know if we have a lead water in my area.
I'm a grain farmer. Used to be a dairy farmer. 10 years ago, I got rid of the dairy cows, and I'm full into grain farming now. Farm about 2,000 acres, and grow corn, soybeans, sorghum, wheat, hay.
Why did you switch?
Just there was no money in dairy farming, and I was getting older and just couldn't do it all. Too much work.
How long have you been in New Jersey?
I'm the 3rd generation on my farm. We're going to be, next year will be 100 years at my place.
On Thursday, workers could be found on Lake Street, next to Branch Brook Park. This is the home of Juan and Nelba Guerra. Darias News first saw the couple in August as they carried water bottles distributed by the city. 5 weeks later, they now found relief. The workers are taking care of the lead line, and the homeowners. Tell me what you think about the fact that it's being done now. Do you feel safer now? Do you feel that you don't have to worry about health now that the lead pipes are gone?
Right now, I feel much better. Yes, because every time I had to cook or take a bath, is worry because it's lead is a poison.
Police say they received many complaints about activity in the home, which was, quote, previously the scene of a shooting, assaults, and acts of criminal mischief. And on the corner, a children's playground. According to police, on Thursday, they executed a Superior Court authorized search warrant before finding the drugs and making the 10 arrests inside the home. Police charged 6 defendants with possession of marijuana, the others with various other crimes. The defendants allegedly involved range in age from 25 to 59. Across the street is the St. Paul Lodge building, which has been on Burden Place for almost a century. Colloquially, It was a former turf club.
It was being very disruptive because we could look across the street from my lodge, which is a fraternal organization, senior citizens, young, youth and everything. We could see 10, 15 young men sitting on the porch at any given time. At some time, we interrupted by parking in our driveway, in and out of the houses, and it was terrible.
All right, so that means you've been doing it for 80 years.
That's right.
So when did this problem of the bees dying start?
Oh, quite a few years back when they brought bees from China. They brought the mite into the United States. We never had it before.
Grant spoke bluntly, angrily noting that every one of the Colfax miscreants goes unwhipped of justice. And no way can be found in this boasted land of civilization and Christianity to punish the perpetrators of this bloody and monstrous crime.
The NYPD wants to know if you know these people. Apparently in a hurry. Seen here on surveillance video at the New Jersey-bound PATH station at 23rd Street and 6th Avenue. According to police, on Saturday, April 13th, in front of 68 East Drive near 5th Avenue in Central Park, a 33-year-old man was riding his e-bike when, quote, a large group of teenagers on bikes and skateboards approached him. One of the males forced his skateboard into the man's bike, forcing him to fall. One of the other males allegedly went through the victim's pants pocket and took a cell phone. Police say the group fled with the goods, southbound on 5th Avenue. Darias News was there on April 13th at 69th Street and 5th Avenue, minutes after the incident happened as police were investigating. The NYPD is asking for your help. Call 1-800-577-TIPS or go to nypdcrimestoppers.com. I heard your words, but can you tell me 200 years after the birth of, I always say General Grant because, President Grant.
That general outranks president. That's why this is called the General Grant. I used to complain about that, and someone said general's more important than president. President was never an important title until after World War II.
You mentioned China before. How does that work? I mean, I keep hearing about that. Just this week, I was reading about the fact that China is buying up a lot of land, or trying to buy up a lot of land in the United States. Is that good? Is that bad? I mean, do they? How does dealing with China work for you?
They make our soybean crop worth a little more, so it helps that way. But do we like them to buy our land? No.
Right.
We want to farm it.
Right, because there was a whole big thing over the last few years about tariffs or not tariffs. How did that impact you?
Yes, it did impact us.
Can you tell me how,
but
please?
I think it was the right way to go. I think we were on the right road, but I don't know now what's going to happen. Things are really starting to change. They need our product, and we need some of theirs. So let's have a good, fair trade.
The biggest takeaway that we really want people to know is when you get your sample ballot in the mail, don't throw it away or keep it, because your barcode makes it extremely easy for us to find you with these new poll books. We scan it and you come up that quickly and we can start the process. Of course, we can always search by last name, first name, and you can also give us your license. That's optional, of course, but if you give us your license, we can find you as quick as well.
The investigation into the shooting death of Stephen Flores on December 23rd in West New York continues, as detectives from the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office today conducted interviews. Darias News has spoken to a witness who attended the party at 6038 Park Avenue. The witness provided video of the frightening encounter right at the moment when the suspect fired the fatal bullet as Flores was about to fight the shooter, possibly for the second time that night. The dramatic video follows this prelude. According to a 16-year-old girl who attended the party, there were about 50 people in the basement. It was hot and crowded, so they decided to walk out for some fresh air, unclear if they were going to return. They walked in this direction, stood here for a while, noticed a car had circled the neighborhood many times, a black car. At one point, she didn't realize she was recording. A man steps out of the car, approaches Flores in this direction, pushes her 12-year-old sister out of the way, puts his left hand, in his left pocket, and with his left hand, shoots.
Go away!
Oh my God! Calm down! Yo, what the fuck? Who shoot? Yo! They shoot someone! They shoot someone! Hell no!
Yo, date maíz.
Yo!
Date rápido que tiraron tiro aquí, loco.
Yo, someone got shot!
The 12-year-old says, "My ears,"
Hell no! My ears!
because the gunshot went off very close to her. Flores then apparently staggers onto the second shooting victim, who was not fatally injured. He was in stable condition the day of the shooting, according to the prosecutor. Amid the horrifying screams, the shooter then ran back towards the same, quote, dirty old black car, according to the witness, though she did not see him get in the same car. As everybody ran for cover, the witness said she didn't want to leave Flores alone in his condition. Quote, I put my sweater around my hand and checked his pulse. It was weak. At that point, with everybody else running away, the girl left with her sister to rendezvous with her father, who was there to pick her up. The witness also confirmed there was a Christmas theme party in the basement. The charge, $3 if you came dressed in Christmas colors, $5 without. Meanwhile, Flores' girlfriend spent Christmas Day mourning her boyfriend of 5 months.
I got phone calls at 4:17 in the morning. Like phone calls, text messages saying, do you know that Steven got shot? Do you know that he died? And I thought it was a dream. So I woke up and it just hit me. He was gone.
Pro-marijuana activists, business owners, and politicians rallied on Saturday, promoting the legalization of recreational use, equity in the criminal justice system, expungement of criminal records, and advocating for control of what could become a lucrative, profit-making industry. And one elected official charged 2 of the most prominent health organizations in the world with practicing, quote, racist attitudes. The day began with speeches at West 32nd Street and Broadway, followed by a march south on Broadway. And then the main event at Union Square Park. Elected officials and organizers say they are focused on legislation.
We've got to get the criminal justice system out of ruining the lives of thousands and thousands of New Yorkers year after year. To me, that's the most important reason to enact adult use legislation here in New York. We're very close to getting that done.
It's important as a social justice issue that the communities are not affected equitably when it comes to marijuana enforcement. They try to decriminalize it, but it didn't work. I shared my story of, when I was in high school, just for a small amount of time, I sold a couple of nickel bags, dime bags, and if I had gotten caught, my whole life could have been differently. I might not be elected, I might not have gotten student loans that I needed, and so it has been damaging communities, certain communities, for a very long time.
We hope to accomplish legalizing weed. We want to pass the MRTA, the Marijuana Regulation and Taxation Act, and the point of this event is to create public pressure on state legislators to do that.
22nd Avenue in South Seaside Park, a surfside street on a barrier island. Barnegat Bay to the west, the Atlantic Ocean to the east. An ideal place if you love the sun, the sand, and swimming. Julia Madsen from Clifton loved her summer home on this block, yet it will be 10 years ago next month that a mystery began. Madsen disappeared. No personal belongings or money missing, despite a massive search with volunteers, the efforts of local and state police, lots of press coverage, and even a psychic. Nothing. June 25th, 2009 happens to be the same day Michael Jackson died. Madsen walked out of her house to take a walk.
7 o'clock at night on a calm, beautiful night, and my dad sat down to watch a Yankee game, and by 9 o'clock, my dad went looking for her, called the police, and unfortunately, she's never been found after a major effort by law enforcement, local citizens, reward, reverse 911. And then since then, it's been 10 years of just trying to wrap my brain around how best to try to find out what happened to my mom.
Madsen's case is not rare. The New Jersey State Police Missing Persons Unit held their annual Missing in New Jersey event. They say they want to help families, promote awareness, and encourage people to report missing loved ones.
In New Jersey, we have about 14 to 16,000 missing persons a year. About 99% of those are recovered. Of the 1% that are not, we have about 1,000 long-term missing people in the state. And those are people who have been missing longer than 30 days. We also have about 320 unidentified deceased individuals in the state. So connecting the dots of those two populations, the unidentified deceased and the long-term missing, will help close the gap and bring closure to some of those families who are searching for their missing loved ones.
More than half of them maintained a presence here. About 20 of them, their headquarters is here.
One of those companies is Mobility Capital Finance, known as Mocafy.
We were founded in 2016. Our founder came out of the investment banking world and saw a need to provide financial solutions for folks who really had high transactions but perhaps low deposits and needed a program to help get them banked. And being banked is a channel into being economically mobile, as we saw the prepaid card space as a way to do that.
George Sabai is a retired lighting designer. He's a radio operator and the Skywarn coordinator for about 450 spotters in Bergen and Passaic.
The Weather Service needs their eyes and ears out there in the public, knowing exactly what's going on, because in most cases, like here in New Jersey, the forecast offices are 75 miles away from where we're sitting tonight. So they can't just look out their window and see the local weather in Wayne, Passaic County, New Jersey.
Please, one more.
According to the Federal Trade Commission, there are more than 500,000 potential fraud cases under investigation, federal COVID aid. How can you assure New Jersey taxpayers that this money will go to who it's meant to go to, and there are fraud protection?
Yeah, early on in this pandemic, we set up an office in our front office whose sole mission is to track every penny and make sure it did what it was supposed to do and it got to the place that it was intended to get to.
A tribute and fundraiser greet customers at the IHOP on Route 46 in Kenville for 22-year-old Jesus Cifuentes and his brother, 17-year-old Arnulfo Cifuentes, both of whom drowned on June 14 off Mine Hill Beach. The Roxbury residents worked at the restaurant.
They just went down to the backside of the lake to splash around and have a little fun with their cousins. And what they didn't realize is, one, what everybody should know is they couldn't swim, but they were just waiting. But what they didn't understand was all of these lakes, whether it's Hopatcong or these sand pits like our lake or these small glacial lakes that are all over North Jersey, are treacherous.
A stop work order remains in place at the Weehawken Cemetery in North Bergen, as a separate state board also investigates. It was last month when many loved ones were stunned to learn a section of the cemetery with graves over a century old were destroyed, along with many trees that were perhaps even older, all reportedly done for a renovation. Families tell Darias News that cemetery officials are mistaken if they think there are not loved ones around who care about the final resting place of their descendants. For example, Chip Renner from Paramus. He says that as a boy, he would visit this cemetery with his grandmother to pay respects to her family.
This is my great-great-grandfather. His name was Emil Schneider. He actually ran one of the largest hardware stores in Hudson County. He actually owned 3 of them back in the day. He lost them all during the Depression. But he took over his father's hardware store. His name was Emil, and his father was Frederick Schneider. Came over from Germany in 1822 and started a store on Canal Street in New York. Then he moved it to Hudson County. Eventually had, like I say, three hardware stores called Big Schneider's Hardware. But unfortunately, they never got through the Depression. They were all lost. And that was the end of that.
There's no showboating or hot dogging for Roxy. She worked many events, including helping to secure the Macy's fireworks event in Hudson County, an active shooter call at the Garden State Plaza. And she scored big time in February 2014, helping to maintain safety at MetLife Stadium for Super Bowl 48. Princeton University is home to almost 8,000 students and 1,300 faculty. In South Orange, more than 10,000 students attend Seton Hall University. They're taught by more than 700 faculty. Then there's Rutgers, New Brunswick, with about 50,000 students and 6,800 full-time and part-time faculty. Thousands of support staff also helped to keep the schools running. When these institutions shut down and students went home because of the COVID-19 pandemic, local businesses in these college towns immediately felt the pain. The Hansel and Griddle on Easton Avenue in New Brunswick, home of the Hansel Colada smoothie, has been in business for 15 years.
It's gotten a little better than when it first started. When COVID first came out, it really killed the business.
Now, how have things changed now with COVID?
You got to have more precaution. You got to clean your machine every time. Every time you finish customer, you got to change your glove, clean everything, disinfect everything, and only work by appointment.
For hospital personnel, this service gives them one less aspect of their job to worry about.
It is good that we get our car cleaned out, means that we don't have the time to do it, and everything else just goes down.
This is a great opportunity to ensure that the vehicle that I drive in every day can be safe so that as I return home to my family, it's a way to help ensure that I can keep my family safe while I'm still maintaining being an essential worker.
I'm 63 years old.
All right, so are you particularly concerned? I mean, you're not like super old, but
Yes,
you're not...
I'm concerned because I drive buses from here to New York, Northern Jersey Transit, private buses. 3 of my friends passed away for the coronavirus.
Wow.
One of them was 47. He was a diabetic. The other ones they were older, like 70, 68. They all 3 passed away.
While U.S. Customs and Border Protection was created after the September 11 terror attacks, Customs itself dates back to the first Congress. Cargo tonnage and import duties have, of course, changed.
Just one shipment is valued at over $5.6 million with an approximate duty of $565,000 compared to $774.
Commuters say they're looking for improvement. Kevin Cerezo calls NJ Transit, quote, essential. The 21-year-old college student from North Bergen has a full-time job.
I think it's great, but honestly, sometimes it's pretty much like it's either a hit and miss, like I missed the train, or it will never come until like half an hour, and then there's a lot of delays, just being honest here, there's a lot of delays, there's a lot of people just doing what they're not supposed to be doing on the trains too. There's a lot of hooligans and they're always, messing around. But other than that, the service is great. I never had a complaint with anybody. I wish it would be a little bit faster, and I wish it could be, to help the people instead of like, oh, you got to get this ticket, or I'm going to give you a ticket. I don't know. It's just mostly when it comes to that.
When you're talking about, you just said hooligans in the train. Can you be more specific? Where and what kind?
Well, there's always like kids that want to be on the rails, and they try to skate it, like just regular have fun monkey business in a way. And there's usually nobody to patrol it, and there's usually nobody there to stop.
Tell me a typical work month for you. I don't know if you go in cycles and months. How does that work, and how many places has this ship been in before the last time you were here, and now you're back? How many places have you been to?
Well, it's a 77-day trip, 11 weeks. We've been through Spain, Egypt, Djibouti, Oman, United Arab Emirates, Pakistan, India, and then all the way back through the Suez Canal, back to Spain, back to New York.
That's a heck of a trip there. Is it all business, all work? Do you even get a little time off?
All business. I haven't been ashore since I got on board June 7th. It's the first time I got off.
I hate to mention a movie, but when I saw Captain Phillips, I saw the making of the movie, and they talked to the real captain, and they asked him, how do you like the sea? He says, it's been years since I even admired the sea. Can you relate to that?
Not really. Even yesterday was a beautiful day offshore. We saw whales, flying fish, other fish. It was just a spectacular, beautiful day that you don't get very often.
That's amazing. What's your? Can you give me your top 1 or 2 countries that you visit and why?
New Zealand, just beautiful and very nice people, and Cyprus. Spent 3 weeks in Cyprus one time, and it was just wonderful, historical and nice people.
What kind of a toll does this take on you personally, as your personal life? It's like I hear this from the military, but from your perspective.
I haven't talked to my wife in 7 days. We've been apart for 6 Christmases in a row at one point, and miss a lot of soccer games.
Do they understand?
Yes, most of the time they do.
So the old boat did approximately 15 miles an hour.
This boat does in excess of 50 miles an hour. These are two monitors. They monitor the depth of the water, fuel gauges, side scan sonar, FLIR camera. It's basically a map of the river or part of the water that we're in, tell us the depth. We can mark it so that there's any structures underneath, we can mark them, we can go back to them. This obviously is the steering wheel, both engines. This is the fire pump control. These two controls here are the roof-mounted floodlights. We have air condition, UHF radio, VHF radio, marine band radio, and the lights and sirens.
Now, something as simple as, did the old boat have air conditioning?
It did not.
So people may say that's a nicety, but the heat wears you.
Yes.
Have you already noticed that makes a difference in making you more effective in concentration and everything?
Yes, this cabin stays cool with this air conditioning unit. We've had between 5 and 7 guys in here, and we haven't had any issues.
So it's not really a luxury.
No, it's when you're out on the boat, you have to prepare yourself for being out there for a long duration of time because we don't know what the response is going to be.
Sir, you still have one.
Colonel, this is going to maybe seem ridiculous to you, but it's probably what everybody wants to know from you. Did you ever see a UFO?
I can tell you I've seen lots of unidentified objects flying, but I would not swear that any of them are a UFO. That may be specifically, and with all due respect, that may be a Navy phenomenon. Mikey, you got to respond here or no?
How long were you on the train, and what did they tell you happened?
So I was on the train for an hour, and they said that one of the trains got stuck in the tunnel, and they're gonna let us know, but they're gonna have an update when the train can go. And all the trains, they're not working now.
Do you often commute on this train?
Yes, not that late, but every day, yes.
Does this happen a lot?
No.
We were just walking right here, and they were coming. I thought they were coming out of the subway part. I thought they were coming out of the subway, but it was right next to it, probably 3 feet, and 7-foot flames at least, because we were right there, and you could see it all the way from over there.
Well, I was just driving and I didn't see this puddle of water here, so I went right through it and my car got disabled. So the engine stopped working, and then I just had to step out of the car. At least I didn't want the car to get flooded, so.
So did it shut down immediately, pretty much?
Yes, it did. I think water probably entered the engine or something, so it got disabled.
But so the rain stopped probably about 15 minutes ago. It must have been much higher when it happened to you.
Yes. The water was more than about my knee level.
So you probably thought it was a lot less than it was, right? And now you're talking to your insurance agent?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Hello.
I think it's something else that can be done. More can be done at the beginning at the academy, rather than after they've been out there and experienced.
Well, we see it as an issue on all ends of a police officer's career. We've had younger, newer police officers take their own lives, and we had very senior police officers of many ranks take their own lives. So it has to be a multifaceted approach that reaches everyone. Each one of you are different. Each one of us are different.
In what has become a yearly event, Kings Plaza Shopping Center has donated supplies students need and a backpack to carry their books.
Not everybody has the ability to do that, and so I'm just excited that Kings Plaza is continuing the tradition to make sure that those who may need a little bit of assistance can have it. And so as much as I can, my office to support other offices or Kings Plaza to give these book bags, which are pretty cool. You can take a look right here. They'll be filled with pens, pencils, and everything that kids need.
My name is Zenaida Rodriguez, and I've been selling ice cream for 3 years.
Este es el cherries, el mangos, el coco y el rimbo.
I went to the employment agency and I couldn't find work. I continued to look, and I found a little factory. I asked for work. They gave me work. I've been selling ice cream for 3 years.
During the Vietnam War, I didn't go to Vietnam. I was an aircraft mechanic, and they wanted helicopter mechanics. And I tried, though.
Can you tell me where you were stationed and what unit you were with?
Fort Lewis, Washington, Fort Rucker, Alabama, and Fort Dix, New Jersey. 1961 to 63.
I'm the president of the parade. My name is Connie Ranocchia. I've been doing the parade for over 30 years almost. I'm a Vietnam veteran era soldier. So, and we have our chairman is Ray Alvio, and Chairman Emeritus is Pete DeAngelis. We work on our parade all year we work on it. We start working, it takes a lot of people to get this organized and ran smoothly. Today was the best parade ever we had.
Darias News visited 7 testing centers 9 times on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday between mid-morning and mid-afternoon. They are all in Hudson County and Bergen County, the 2 counties with the most coronavirus cases in New Jersey. They all mostly sat empty, nearly empty, or closed. Wednesday, March 13, 1:44 p.m. The Hudson Regional Hospital. Empty, no testing. Wednesday, 2:45 p.m. There was 1 car and 0 individuals at the Weehawken test site, which was set up in conjunction with Union City. It opened Monday, May 11. According to Weehawken town manager Giovanni Ahmad, the site can handle 400 to 500 tests per day, and about 200 to 230 people per day were tested. Ahmad said he expected more residents as word gets out. An emailed request for total testing numbers and results was not answered. On Thursday, March 14 at 11:01 a.m. back in Weehawken, 3 cars and about 6 individuals were waiting for tests. Then it was on to the aforementioned site at Bergen Community College in Paramus and Fairleigh Dickinson University in Teaneck. Then at 2:43 p.m. at the Rite Aid on Essex Street in Hackensack, the coronavirus drive-thru was empty. Friday, May 15, 1:20 p.m. Jersey City Drive-Thru Testing Center on Route 440, closed for the day. 1:38 p.m. at the Walk-Up Testing Center on Martin Luther King Jr. Drive, Jersey City. The doors are locked. No one answered the doorbell. 2:58 p.m. back at the Hudson Regional Hospital in Secaucus. 3 cars in line. Darias News requested testing numbers and results for this site via email and by phone. No numbers were provided. A request emailed Friday morning to the State Health Department for numerical information about all these sites was also not answered. Despite the apparent abundance of testing available in New Jersey, which is second in the nation with the most positive tests and second highest in deaths, this is how the week started at the White House when President Trump was questioned by the media.
Mr. President, you're now promising that everyone who needs a test will be able to get one at some point soon. Can you give us some figures on what you're changing to ramp up testing? When will that be a true statement exactly? And how exactly are you going to accomplish that?
And why hasn't testing gotten up to the point where every American who wants a test can get a test?
President, if I can follow up on that, your staff, your senior staff, as you just referenced, is able to get tested every day. When will it be that Americans across the country will be able to get tested every day as they go back to work?
The next day at the White House, Tuesday, more questions about testing availability.
President Trump yesterday said the U.S. had prevailed on testing, but today we heard from senators, both Democratic and Republican, who say that's not the case. Senator Lamar Alexander, a Republican, says what our country has done so far in testing is impressive, but not nearly enough. Senator Patty Murray, a Democrat, said we need dramatically more testing. It's unacceptable. We don't have a national strategic plan. What's the White House response?
Last week you said it would be nonsensical to test all Americans, and yesterday the administration celebrated testing 2.7% of the population. In order to reopen 100% of the country, what amount of testing does make sense to you? And what's an alternative to testing to track and contain the virus to make people feel confident to get back to normal?
Thank you, Kaylee. The president said on Monday that Florida has so much testing that testers are literally sitting around waiting for people and that there is a, quote, great overcapacity. Yet the reality in the state is there are still widespread criticism, reports of not enough testing. In the Kaiser Family Foundation ranks Florida 24th in the country per capita when it comes to testing. So is the president being overly optimistic about the situation in Florida?
According to the Centers for Disease Control, Florida has 44,811 coronavirus cases, while New Jersey has 145,089 cases. According to the U.S. Census, the population of Florida is more than 21 million, while New Jersey is approaching 8.9 million residents. Yesterday, I asked Governor Phil Murphy this question.
The first one is based on questions that President Trump is asked on a daily basis multiple times. If somebody needs a test, can they get a test? But this is also based on me visiting multiple test sites over the last 3 days.